We're a professional podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
Professional
Welcome.
only.
Exactly. Welcome to another edition of the Bulluminati podcast. I'm your host, Nathan Bond. Joined alongside me, as always, the very dapper Seth Varnadore and the professionally dressed Robert Steeg. How you guys doing?
Couldn't be better. Couldn't be better, Nate.
Big get for the Bulluminati podcast. We got Ryden on this week. That's big for us.
We were hoping for was it Sub-Zero or is that Tekken?
Yeah. No, you're on. You're on it.
Okay.
Sub-Zero. Yeah.
There it is. Big fan of Sub-Zero.
I got my blue on. It is a Golden Girl shirt, but it's blue, so I'll go with it.
I just noticed that.
Stay golden, Steve.
Ooh, that's perfect.
Look at that.
It goes really well with my silly goose hanging loose shirt.
I like. We're ready. We're ready to talk serious sports right now.
Absolutely. I mean, outside of the Shutdown Fullcast, we're the internet's only other college football podcast who takes it very seriously.
That's true.
So, Seth, I think you were the one today who suggested what the premise of tonight's podcast is going to be. So we were kind of figuring out what we were going to discuss. You know, obviously we're going to touch on, fall campus. You know, what we're into week 2 of fall camp, basically. The first full team scrimmage is on Saturday. So allegedly we should have a starting quarterback named this weekend, right? Or at least to the team.
God, I hope.
Right? Isn't that allegedly what was supposed to happen?
We'll see. You know, it's a lot more competitive than we thought. Both guys have really stepped up. We forgot about Travis Marsh, but the other two guys have really stepped up. So it'll have to go another week, you know.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. So big things ahead for the South Florida Bulls as we head, closer and closer to September 3rd when the Bulls open up versus BYU on ESPNU at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time inside Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida. So for tonight's podcast, we're gonna weave in information, but on the whole, this is what we're gonna do. We are actually going to draft a fantasy team. Each one of us is going to control our own destiny and draft a fantasy team of players that play for USF currently. And we're going to ask the fans to figure out who had the best team overall. And then we're going to track it throughout the season to see who gets the ultimate bragging rights at the end of the year. So bear with us. Seth, I believe you have the random number generator.
Yeah, I do. I'm going to share the audio on this tab. It's going to be loud though. So
okay.
Was it like the little clicker wheel thing?
Yeah, I think it's worthwhile. All right, so what's a number? Who wants? Steve, you want to be number 1 because of your beautiful outfit?
Yeah, I'll be number 1 tonight. As we all know, I'm historically the best at doing drafts.
Correct.
I've
There you go.
never done bad, so I might as well start us off something strong here. Hopefully, getting number 1.
Nathan, would you like to be 2 or 3?
I'll take 2.
All right, 2. I'll be 3. So this will determine whoever wins this gets the number 1 pick, and then we'll go in order. I guess we'll spin again, maybe for second pick, and then it'll be a snake draft. So we'll start and then wrap back around. All right, We ready? Who's ready to see who's going to be the number 1 pick?
God, please let it be me. Please let this quarterback decision be easy for me.
Number 2. That's
me.
Nathan Bond with the pick.
Congratulations to me.
Oh, I should have. I should have removed choice. All right, now Stieg. Now you'll stay number 1. Now I'll be number 2.
The coin flip.
This is big right here. I don't know if you realize how big this is, but this could be
massive.
This could be pretty big right here.
Oh, fuck me. God damn it.
All right.
Oh, I have to laugh. Stieg, you get the 3rd and 4th pick, though. You get the wraparound.
I do get the wraparound.
Around the horn, so that's all right. So what we'll do, base premise, PPR rules, standard scoring, 6 points for a receiving or rushing touchdown, 4 points for a passing touchdown. 1 point per reception, and then 0.1 yards per receiving yard, passing yard, and rushing yard. We'll draft 1 quarterback, 1 running back, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, an offensive lineman. We'll get to how we're going to score offensive line play here in a second. 1 defensive lineman, a linebacker, and a DB. So you got that: quarterback, running back, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, O-line, D-line, linebacker, DB.
Can I answer a question that was quickly asked in the chat?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, perfect. Justin there asked, do you know what school CJS Coach Jeff Scott referred to when he said USF lost 2 players to a lower conference because the school paid $2,000 a month in NIL? That school is none other than the University of Massachusetts at Amherst. Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
How about that?
Yeah,
good for them. They got money up there.
They do got money.
I mean,
they got stupid money.
Yeah, so that makes sense.
Don't really care about return on investment, huh?
Nah. I mean, you put $6,000 a month. If you do 3 months and put it into Bitcoin, in like 6 months, it'll be worth like $3,000. So it'll be perfect.
There you go.
They're gonna smoke us in men's basketball this year. But back to the draft.
All right, so I'll take first pick. With the first overall pick in the 2022 Bulluminati podcast USF football fantasy football draft, I will take quarterback, Baylor transfer, Gary Bohannon. Shocking, I know.
Good pick.
Bold choice, Nate. Right? Bulldog wasn't high on your list or anything?
No, it was between him and Gunnar Smith, and had to stick to my gut and pick Gary Bohannon, primed for a big season if he starts all 12 games.
Yeah. All right. So now I'm up with the number 2 pick. So here's my question to you guys. I guess I really can't ask, but the question I'm asking myself is there another quarterback worth taking if we think Gary Bohannon is going to be the starter? Could it be a lost pick, or is it a good backup pick?
So I will answer this with basically what Xavier Weaver said during his media availability this week is, I've been at USF for a little bit and I've played with a lot of quarterbacks. So you never know. you never know. But I get what you're saying. Typically in fantasy football drafts, you don't want to take quarterbacks this early, but with it's a shallow league. There aren't very many QB options. It actually enhances the price of the pick, which is why I felt really confident in taking Gary Bohannon there at the first overall.
Yeah, I think you have a point, but I don't want this person to play and then lose out on all points at the quarterback position. So I'm going to take Timmy McClain just as a backup here. I'm sure he'll play some this year, so I'll get some points out of position. It makes quarterback a little bit tough for Stieg, but there are a ton of good players here. So 2 quarterbacks off the board. Stieg, you are up. Where do you want to go? Anywhere on the board.
I gave this a long, hard thought. And by long and hard thought, I mean, when did I get the 3rd pick? Probably 2 minutes ago. I mean,
you had to suspect it was going to happen.
Yeah, I had that inkling, especially with my luck in drafts and everything. And I gave it the obvious choice here is to go with Trey Marsh. I mean, he was the solidified backup last year, played a good bit. He kind of, you would expect to be the number 3 guy at the very least. Then you throw a wrench into it because you have true freshman quarterback Byron Brown, apparently grit leader of the year for freshmen over there.
Right.
So, but we don't know if that translates on the field. You can be the hardest working athlete, but throw 75 picks in a season. So I thought to myself, which other quarterback could possibly play this year in gadget situations? Just long shot, you need a speedy guy to come in there. You need a guy that brings something a little different, which is why I'm taking none other than converted quarterback to quarterback, back to quarterback, Jordan Smith.
Wow.
There's a reason. There's a reason.
That's a shocking pick right there, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't think that is a terrible pick.
There's a reason.
Shocking.
No,
I mean, it's bad. It's bad. It's bad. You know, hands off the old chess piece. It's bad at this juncture. But I mean, he could have had that pick last.
Yeah, you could have had that last pick. There's no bench, so it's not like any one of us could stash a quarterback. If there was a bench spot, Stieg, and you didn't take Travis Marsh, I was going to take him with my next pick.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I would take a Travis Marsh
to absolutely mess with you.
But I think in Stieg's defense, now I agree. The timing of the pick awful, terrible. But in defense of Stieg, if he does have to move to another position, you have the ability to possibly have some points.
That's right. You could get
whereas I don't know,
you can become eligible at 2 different positions.
Yeah. So he's eligible as a quarterback because that's what he's in the roster. But if he moves, then he still functions as the quarterback. But
I figured at the very least, if say we're winning or we're losing by a shit ton towards the end of a game, you're throwing in your third string guy at that point. You're probably not throwing the ball very much.
Wouldn't the third string guy be Trey Marsh in this scenario?
Oh, right.
Yeah, and I think he ran over. I think he ran over 20 miles an hour. So he runs better than we think. Yeah, that's bad. But Stieg, you're on the board again. You're up. You're on the clock for the wraparound.
Look at me. Look at me go. Question, because as our resident fantasy football idiot, I've never done. I haven't done fantasy football in like 8 years. To be completely honest. How do we score like a returner? And you can probably guess where I'm going with this one.
So you get a point for every 10 yards, right?
0.1. Well, yeah. So point per 10 yards.
Point per 10 yards.
Touchdowns count
6
for
points
6
per
points.
touchdown.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. That throw. Oof. All right. So here's my thinking on this.
Come on down, Sean Atkins.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, when you got a consensus All-American at kick returner, you know, I'm not a special teams coach by any stretch of the imagination, but I probably wouldn't kick to him very often. So my inkling at first was, take Brian Battie. He's going to get you points on special teams, easy money, but not so fast. The Vulture. Give me those quick 6 points on one touchdown runs. Damn it. Give me Jordan Smith and Jaron Mangum in the backfield together, cruising together.
He was at the top of my big board after Gary Bohannon, man. Oh, great pick. What a way to come back.
Way to redeem myself.
I thought that was gonna fall. And I was gonna have to. I was kind of talking to myself a little bit about debating, would I take Mangum just because of the touchdown production? I think you'd have to think about it.
You fools assumed that I wouldn't take Mangum.
Yeah. What? I'm going to take the guy that kind of made me think about this process. I'm taking Jimmy Horn. That's going to be my pick. When I heard Jeff Scott talking about Jimmy Horn the other day, in my mind, I thought, yeah, he's the best player on the team, in my opinion. And then I also thought, well, would I pick him first if this was a draft? And that's kind of what started me thinking. But in the second round, I'll take him. I think he's going to have a really good year.
Can I admit something? I thought we were going position by position.
No, we're not.
Oh, fuck me.
The whole board is open to you, dude.
Oh, man.
I stand by my now I know why you guys are ragging on me so much. I was like,
you're like, this is a great pick. I mean, what are you talking about? No, yeah, you can go anywhere.
Yeah. Oh, okay, cool.
So yeah, I'm going Jimmy Horn.
That's a good pick.
I think he's going to have a really big year, get a lot of touches, I would imagine. And I got my team name's ready to go. So
okay.
Yeah. Do you guys want to know the team name now, or you want to wait?
Let's wait.
We'll wait till the end.
I got to figure out my team name.
There you go. Right.
So I've got back-to-back picks. I'll wrap up the second round. Real simple, real easy. Should have been the first round pick. Xavier Weaver. This is wide receiver number 1. This is going to be whomever the quarterback is. It's this guy. He's going to be the target. Plus, he could be getting punt return yards too as well. Just depends on how that kind of fluctuates and shakes out for the Bulls. He finished with 715 yards last season. He's a Fred Biletnikoff preseason watch list candidate with another 700-yard season in 2022. He will vault into the top 5 all-time in career yards as a wide receiver at USF, jumping the likes of Carlton Mitchell of years past. So, I mean, that just seemed like the surefire, easy bet. Started kicking off the third round here. Do not pardon the pun. It's Brian Battie. He's going to get rushing yards. He's going to get receiving yards. He's going to get return yards. He'll take at least one kickoff or punt or whatever back to the house. That's a slam dunk. I feel really comfortable with that trio as we gear forward. Even if even with Gary, if he doesn't get all the starts, I think Brian Battie and Xavier Weaver are what we call matchup proof, quarterback proof. It doesn't really matter; they'll still get there. So I'm excited about those 2 picks as we get deeper into the draft here.
Yeah, it's up to me. I think obviously if it was just on pure talent maybe and what I expect production to be, I might look at a running back here. But since that position's off the board, I'm going to go ahead and pick a guy that coaches have been talking about for a while and that you saw get some pub today in the freaks list from Bruce Feldman. I'm going to take Will Jones.
It's a great pick
as my defensive back.
Phenomenal
pick. Let's pull that up real quick. I've got it. You put it into Athletic, right? So Bruce Feldman, he has of the Athletic, he has the freak of nature college athletes heading into the season. Will Jones checked in at number 74 for USF, a safety. This is the blurb for Will Jones from Bruce Feldman in the Athletic. A Kansas State transfer who excited the Bulls staff before blowing out his ACL before the 2021 season. Jones has recovered and come back strong. The 5'9", 182-pounder bench presses more than double his weight, 375 pounds. He bench presses 375 pounds and squats more than triple. He squats 600 pounds. He power cleans 330 and hit 22 miles an hour on the GPS tracker. That is a mighty fine pick, Seth. And I think, last year that defense would have been a lot different with him in the backfield.
Yeah, I don't like how Bruce Feldman said blowing out his ACL. I think that's a bit aggressive. But other than that, great piece. And you kind of see I've just got a lot of explosiveness on this team right now.
Absolutely.
McLean, Horn, Will Jones. This is an explosive team. Could be a track team, but we're pretty good at football too.
All right.
Phenomenal.
Back to you, Stieg.
Back to Stieg for 2 picks here to wrap up the third round and start the fourth.
I'm just going to continue to.
You can pick whatever position you want.
No, I'm just going to continue on my list at this point because my at this point, all bets are off.
You got a theme.
Yeah, might as well just kind of keep rolling with it. This next one, let's digest a little bit. Between like 3 guys, I have like a gut pick, I have like a heart pick, and then I have a brain pick. And being stupid has never stopped me before, so I'm going to continue that trend. I've been hearing a good bit of good things about him throughout the camp at receiver. I'm going to go with Yusuf Terry as that, and for no other reason than he's already got that Baylor connection with good old Gary back there. I've heard really good things about Yusuf Terry's work ethic, especially kind of behind Xavier Weaver on the outside there. He kind of fits between. He can kind of be slotted around if it's X, Y, or Z. He can kind of fit all 3 of those positions. He's not exactly the tallest guy. He's not exactly the fastest guy, but he can be lethal in a like repository role there. Plus, he has a cool ass fucking name. So
that's true.
That is true. All right, yep. Next pick, Stieg. You get the first pick of the 4th round now.
I keep on forgetting that. Well, I got to continue my trend of being stupid in my draft. So we're gonna go with my second receiver, which is going to be just phenomenal all-name receiver test here. I'm gonna go with the Joe.
That's
So nice
exciting.
they named him twice.
Yeah, he's definitely got it. Some worries about taking him. My gut was to take a Marion Dawson. I really liked Marion Dawson's work ethic, and I like what he does, and I like what he brings at receiver, as well as a few other positions as well. But there's something about a Joe, his charisma, that image of him at the scale just will forever live in my head.
That could be your team logo.
That's gonna be my team name. That it's just a picture, just gonna be no description or anything, just that Joe picture.
Well, there you go. All right. Well, it looks like we're having kind of a run on receivers here. So I'm going to go ahead and get my second receiver now. I'm going to go with, is it Khafre Brown? How do you pronounce the first name?
Choffrey.
I'm going with Choffrey Brown.
Great pick.
I'm going with him. He's got some good buzz in camp. It seems like he's in line to possibly start across from Xavier Weaver. So I'm going to go with him. I know he'll be in the rotation. And again, this is an explosive team I'm building right here.
Absolutely. So, a lot of speed demons, a lot of speed guys for you.
Now you're back to back.
I'm back to back here. Man, let's go. I'm going to, this is an all stats guy. He really does it all for the Bulls. I don't understand how between practice and games that he still has a voice, because he is a very vocal leader on and off the field. I'm going to go with Antonio Greer.
He often doesn't have a voice in the postgame.
Right. So I'm going to go Antonio Greer for my linebacker spot. Right. And I feel pretty good about that. He puts up stats over 90 tackles last season. I think we'll see a few more splash plays from him. From the defense in general, a lot of havoc plays. When he was talking to the media this week, he said he really loved Bob Shoop, and Shoop's a funny guy, in your face kind of person. And we talked about it on this here podcast when Shoop was hired about what makes good defensive coordinators click, and you've got to be a little crazy. I think that's what defense. I mean, you've got to be a little crazy to play defense anyway, to willingly go up and hit people and have to be the one creating the contact. There's always got to be something just a little off about you to play defense. He's going to be the heart and soul of that defense. His final year, he's going to go off, and I'm excited for what he can do. Now, my next pick, I want to make sure, Stieg, you have no more wide receivers to take, correct?
Everybody else, yeah. Stieg and I both are full on receiver.
Okay, so
I can let me see if I have. If I've written everyone's name correctly here.
I've got mine on a pretty little note card.
You've got,
so I don't forget.
Okay, perfect. Even better. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hold off on wide receiver right now, and I am going to take Jatorian Hansford at defensive line.
Phenomenal.
Just, Eric, I was really thinking about Tramel Logan, but I couldn't pull the trigger this early here. I'm excited for what Jatorian can do for the Bulls defense. I'm excited to see what he's capable of, but really excited about him in the Bulls uniform. That's my pick. I think the defense is going to create a lot of havoc plays. I think they finished with like 28 tackles for loss last season, 9.5 sacks as a total team. I think they'll smash those in 2022, just with the increase in depth and talent, plus a new scheme that'll, as Antonio Greer said this week, put their players in the best positions to succeed.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Tramel Logan.
I'll come over like 10 miles away.
Eric's my assistant GM in the chat here, but yeah, I think obviously what we've heard about him the weight he's put on. He's shown flashes every year, and kind of he can put it all together with that weight. Like the biggest concern with him was he was kind of slender when he first came in, and now he's up to 247, 250. I think it was close to in that weigh-in.
Mm-hmm.
He's got some speed off the edge. I think with scheme, hopefully he'll get him some one-on-ones and he can make some plays. So I'm going to go with Tramel Logan there. I just feel like if he can become the sack guy, you can really get some points there.
Absolutely. That's a great pick. Stieg, God bless you. You're up.
Yeah, God bless me. So I'm gonna move into our lovely little tight end room. It's a tiny room for all these big men. So really only 5 choices to choose from, and no true blue starter just yet. I'd imagine that someone of this position is going to have to emerge from them. You've got 2 pretty good options. You got the pride and joy of the 2021 recruiting class with Gunnar Greenwald. Big frame coming in already, 6'4". Updated roster is at 244 pounds. So big boy already. You got technically 3 new faces, but you got Chris Matillo from Penn, not Penn State, but just Penn. Smart dude, knows his shit. Chris Carter, a good name there. Jason Littlejohn, he's kind of my X factor. He might be a downhill receiving threat. Jackson Long, I'd imagine special teams captains coming down his way. But there's one thing that we haven't talked about when it comes to our tight ends. They got to be handsome. And I'm choosing the handsomest, Chris Matillo, handsome tight end. University continues on.
Wow.
Good luck spelling his last name, Seth.
I'm searching. I'm frantically searching.
It's Mottillo.
What number are we talking here?
He's number 86.
80? Something, yeah.
Oh, Lord, is he on the roster?
He's way down there.
Oh, there he is. I see him.
Massive human being, by the way. 6'6", almost 260. That's a thick fucking tight end. I'd imagine he's going to be like a primary blocker.
Double L.
But, yeah.
Matillo. All right.
Matillo.
All right. First pick of the 6th round, Stieg. Back to you.
All right. Well, no surprises here. We're going to choose an offensive lineman. This one's going to be tough because obviously the points of how we're going to grade this. We should probably talk about that, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Let's. So we've kind of decided we wanted to, because the hog mollies up front don't really get much love, so we're gonna give them love. Each game, each offensive lineman that we select will start with 10 points. And then they'll decrease by a point or 2 points if there's a penalty called against them, if they give up a sack. Also, we will reward points based on pancake block if they spring
blocks.
a run.
Yeah.
If they're downfield blocking on a screen or a long run, we want to reward effort from the big boys. So that's what we're going to do. That's how we're going to score the offensive line because they don't really get points. They don't get much love. So we're going to do that.
It's going to be like a gymnastics judging. We're going to have a committee that comes together and judges.
It'll be a hotly contested thing every single week in the podcast group. Oh no, that was Brad Cecil was the one that pancaked him there.
Yeah. Do I get a half pancake?
Yeah, half pancake points. So really, I mean, we have 5 options here. You got your 5 starters. We're depending on injuries and everything like that. This might need to get redrafted in case because it's not really going to be fair if I choose Brock Perry and get an automatic 10 points every single week, right?
Well, I mean, they have to play.
Yeah. So really, it's the starters and then maybe a few rotational guys. I saw a little inkling that hadn't gotten discussed too much, and that's this newfangled blindside blocking that we have to kind of deal with as far as our tackles going. With a left-handed quarterback and a right-handed quarterback, you have 2 different blind sides. So both of our offensive tackles have to learn both left tackle and right tackle, and that kind of sucks.
Now, is that what's actually happening? Like they're flipping?
Yep, they're flip-flopping depending on who's taking snaps with ones.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
That
there's
sounds
your
like a nightmare,
there's your nugget
but-
of the day.
Yeah, that sounds awful for everyone involved.
Right. And so that changed who I was initially going to draft when we were talking about this, because I was initially going to go with Demontre Jacobs because I was like, dude's great, love the guy. But I'm going to change it. It's a guy that I've been high on for the past like 2.5 years, and I talk about him nonstop. Dustin Hall. Dustin Hall.
I was going to
Love
say,
Dustin Hall.
watch this, Steeg. I think. Right?
You got it. Oh yeah, Dustin with a Y. Don't fuck him up.
No.
He was like Mr. Pancake on his high school football team.
I like it.
So I've got high hopes there.
All right.
Yeah. All right, so it comes back to me.
My team sucks.
Man, jeez Louise. You know, I mean, these are still nice fellas, man.
Yeah, no, they're nice.
No,
fellas.
I think besides quarterback, which is really like you have no shot because you got third.
Like if this team was actually rolling up,
strategy.
I'd be fine. But
You did some strategy. You went for it. I got to give that to you. I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna hit up the old tight end room here,
Okay.
and I'm gonna go with some upside here. I'm gonna go with Gunnar Greenwald.
That's a great upside pick. You've got some stability with Jimmy Horn and Will Jones. I think they'll give you a lot of talent. You need the upside pick to maybe cash in on some points. I think Caffrey.
Shoffrey, according to Steeg.
Choffrey, man, that's gonna mess me up all season. Choffrey, I think he's also another big boomer bust kind of guy for you.
Yeah,
but if he pops, that's gonna be a fantastic pick for you as we get deeper into the season. Same with Gunner, but someone from the tight end room has to catch a pass. That's just kind of how it boils down.
That's what I thought.
Like
Yeah.
Jeff Scott said,
recruit.
Yeah, Jeff Scott says that they've got 4 serviceable tight ends, so that means that they can't all be bad, right? At least one of them has to be halfway decent.
Well, there's only 5 tight ends, so someone just got thrown way under that fucking bus.
Well, I think Jackson Long is more of a project piece at tight end for sure.
Would you say he's the redheaded stepchild of the?
That is rude, and I'm offended. So let's see. How do I want to
Panama Steeg?
I need a fucking cigar over here.
So DB, I'm gonna go DB here with my pick. I want some upside. I think this is the right pick. If Smoke Davis was around, I think this is the guy. This is the pick for me right here. So I've got to. You want someone who can rack up the tackles, who can make some splash plays on the back end. I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be Daquan Evans for me. I think he can take the next step here. I think he'll be relied upon heavily as we get deeper into the year.
All right, Daquan Evans coming off of the board. Back to me.
I still have a second pick, brother.
Oh my gosh, I'm over my skis.
Jeez Louise. All right.
What is that? 6-18 right there. All right, 7. First pick of the 7th round here.
And then I'm gonna go with Meach Harris at offensive line. You need some stability. You need leadership. I think he's the safe bet. Just because of the way my last 2 picks are going to be, it's going to be those high upside guys. So you need something to offset that. How do you offset big swings and potential misses? You get the stability. You get stable guys. That's what Meach Harris is. That's what he's done for 3.5 years for the Bulls. He's been that stable presence along the offensive line. It's a perfect pick for me as we go into the final 2 rounds here.
Yeah, great pick. Steady. I think steady. You got a steady hand there. I don't know if I think there's some depth at the position I'm going to pick at, but The other two possibilities I can go to, I kind of have whoever I want because you guys are both capped out there. So I'm going to go at linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I could wait and pick up a guy at the end of the draft here. Maybe pick up a DJ Gordon type. But I mean, I'm just going to go with Dwayne Boyles.
Safe, secure bet.
We want to put some numbers on the board. I think he'll be a guy that can do that for us. Get some tackles up on the board. Maybe we can kind of see some of that pass rushing we thought we'd see unleashed.
I was about to say he's been taking some pass rushing reps with the defensive line during practices this week. So I think Shoop our Dreadhead King over there decided, hey, he's fast. He's really good at tackling. We might as well get him after the quarterback every once in a while, which is, in my opinion,
and didn't he have like 5.5 sacks in 2019 or something like that? Like,
yeah, he was great off the edge. They'd bring him in and on like third downs and stuff. Yeah, so
like that was the thing that was just completely missing under former defensive coordinator Glenn Spencer. It's just like he was very good. Him and Antonio Greer were both very good at rushing the quarterback in 2019. It just never really came to fruition. Yeah, so Dwayne Boyles in 2019 had 12.5 tackles for loss and 3 sacks. Like that in 12 games played, he had 75 tackles, 12.5 tackles for loss. That's what you want to see from your guy. That's a steady hand. I think we're going to see closer to that than what we saw, last season. I think he finished with 68 tackles and 3 tackles for loss. That's a steep drop off from where we saw him in 2019. I think he gets back to that. I think he's finally healthy, and I think we'll see a big year from him.
That's the floor, and that's a good floor. All right, Stieg, you're back up.
Well, continuing down my list, this one was probably the most difficult. This one this one's probably the most difficult one, just because there's a lot of guys on the defensive line, on this revamped defensive line. A guy like Jatorian Hansford, we know he's going to be serviceable. There's a reason he got brought in. He has a good bit of experience. You got some young guys on this defensive line that are getting some kudos from Coach Scott there. He mentioned Eddie Kelly today. We all kind of knew Eddie Kelly's going to be the next guy from USF that's going to be on that freaks list. I mean, He's already just a massive human being as a true freshman. He's like 17, 18 years old. He's 6'4", 275 at a defensive end. Like get him like an extra 2 inches. He'll be massive, coming off the edge there. This one, I was between kind of our journeyman guy that you just have nothing but love to root for with Rashawn Yates. He kind of got bent through the ringer as a senior and had his ups and downs. And I think he's trending upwards. He got number 6 as a defensive line. I love seeing guys with single digits on the defensive line.
High grit
and then
score.
I have my trendy, high grit score. And then I have my trendy guy, a Clyde Pender Jr. Probably will end up being a fan favorite, number 99, big human being from UNC, went to Armwood right up the road. I think both these guys are going to have phenomenal years one way or another. I think USF is going to rack up on the sacks as much as possible.
Steve, can I guess who you're actually going to take?
Yeah, Chad Elder. No, I'm going with Rashawn Yates.
I thought you were going to take Matos.
I fucking love Matos. if you could get like 10 points for a block kick, we ride Matos every single day, every time. But yeah, Rashawn Yates. I noticed he went from defensive tackle to defensive end. I think that suits his pass rush ability a lot more. He's big, he's strong, and he's got a lot of grit. I love what Rashawn Yates does. I love what he's all about. Senior, he knows he's going to be the leader on this defensive line. I believe in Rashawn Yates.
All right,
back to you.
Starting the penultimate round.
Yeah, this one not as dramatic of a reading or anything like that. DJ Gordon. Freak.
That's a solid pick, man.
Yeah, I think he's shown that he's probably seemingly good enough that I was kind of waiting. I thought, okay, I'd be happy with Boyles or Greer, but I can wait for Gordon as well if I need to take something else. So that speaks pretty highly of him. I
figured all three of us would be fine at linebacker.
Yeah,
like
right.
These were the three that we were going to choose. It was just who was going to pick one of those three. No offense to anyone else in that linebacker room, especially Jalen Schuler, who's been just popping off in camp, but it's these three.
Yep.
All right, back to me. I'm going to go Kelly Joyner.
Great pick.
At running back. What value late here. But I think he's obviously a guy, if it was not based on, only 3 teams here and you had to get a guy, he probably would have gone a lot earlier. This is just because you guys filled up your running backs pretty quickly. So I think all 3 of these guys we have at running back are going to put up some numbers this year.
Mm-hmm.
It'll just be it may come down to who scores the touchdowns, and that would probably lean in Steeg's favor here, but I think we all got some productive running backs, just like it's pretty similar to the linebacker conversation. We're all going to get a good one. It's just a matter of who got who.
Yep. So it's my turn. Let's go with the guy who probably made the most important play of the 2021 season, and that is Chris Carter. We'll always, and that's points right there. That's a tackle. That's points right there. He does it all points for the Bulls.
That might be worth. That might have to go to the committee for extra points.
Yeah,
the grit score of the week.
Yeah, that's a gritty play. I think he's going to be a lot more involved in the passing game this season. He's a good blocker. Maybe able to sneak in a pancake or two with some downfield blocks. Get some points that way as well. And he's the most experienced guy in that tight end room at USF, so you can't not do that, right? And then for wide receiver, I told you guys I wanted to build some stability so you can take a couple of swings here. Wide receiver, with my last pick of this draft, you know it, baby. You know it. Way to go, Seth. Latrell Williams, everybody. Coming back from the torn ACL. He's nursing a hamstring injury, but he's going to be a guy that fits in nicely with this offense. I think he's going to get a lot of run. I'm excited to see what he can do once he gets completely healthy. But, you got to swing big sometimes, and he is my guy. If he pops off, you guys have no shot.
It's true.
Yeah. There's a lot of depth. You see in the chat, there's other names get thrown out. There's a lot of depth in the skill positions, and that's kind of one of the reasons I thought it'd be fun to cap receiver at 2, just because there's so many good ones. You can kind of have a bunch of different combinations. So I'm left with an O lineman. Now, Stieg mentioned the flip flopping of the tackles earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And why would you do that? Well, you moved Demontre Jacobs because you obviously think he's your best tackle and probably your best offensive lineman. That's why you'd switch him from somewhere he's comfortable on the right side to the left side. So he's always on the quarterback's blind side, regardless of who the quarterback is. So I think that speaks pretty highly of him. We've talked about him. He's a big guy, super long arms. He has kind of the body type, I think, more than other guys on the team to be a possibility at the next level. So that's who I'm going with here, Demontre Jacobs.
Great choice. He would have been mine if had I not read the whole thing about flip flopping.
That's where I thought you were going. I did one of these.
Yeah. No, I think honestly, I think both of them would be completely served. Either Demontre Jacobs on the left tackle or the right tackle. I think both of them would be phenomenal at those positions. I'm not necessarily worried about our tackles too much this year. It's a little worrisome when you go from right tackle to left tackle. It's a whole different mantra and
it is difficult to learn, but they could just also be cross training him a little bit,
right?
But to me, the fact that they're willing to move him shows that they feel he's really got some special pass protecting characteristics. So he's a guy that kind of came in out of nowhere initially, and once he got in, you're like, man, this guy's really like big and long, and if he can move at all, he's got a chance to be a player, and he turns out he could move a little bit. So I think he's got a chance to be pretty good. We'll see if it happens on the field this year, but I like getting him in the 9th round.
Oh, great choice. All righty.
Steeg, send us out.
Don't want to call him Mr. Irrelevant, but the last pick of the draft, Robert Steeg, you've got your choices of DBs, only 2 off the board. Excited to see where you go here. Are you going flash? Are you going consistency? I'm excited. What's your thought process on this one?
I almost feel like we should have had 2 DBs just because the depth is very, very much there at defensive back for USF this year. Will Jones and Daquan Evans are clear by far probably the best 2 defensive backs on our team. Daquan Evans has just been absolutely consistent year in, year out. Will Jones, I think we're all, sitting on the edge of our seats waiting in anticipation for the first defensive play where they throw towards Will Jones to see him do his work. I really don't think that there's a bad 3rd choice here because there is a lot of depth. Of course, there's a few guys that would be questionable, but I'm going to go with a guy that has put in the work, has worked his ass off, earned that scholarship, and he earned it for a reason. T-Mac Simpson. I love T-Mac Simpson. I also wanted to go for an all-name team here. Really wanted to kind of get like a Dan Smith BYU kind of situation with a Key and Peele skit.
Yeah.
And I think I accomplished it.
With Jordan Smith.
Yeah. But really, I mean, TJ Robinson, I saw him get noted. TJ has been kind of the guy that kind of started the transfer party into USF a little bit. Transfer from Rutgers, what was that, like 3 years ago? He was kind of the first big Power 5 guy that transferred in under regime. So, yeah, I really think that this defensive back room is got the depth and got the skill positions there to be good this year. Losing Smoke Davis sucks, no doubt, but I think they'll be fine. And yeah, it'll be fun.
I'd say what'll be interesting at the end of the year is to go back and look and see what the best of the non-drafted guys, how they look. Like Christian Williams, another good player in the defensive backfield. You may have, Schuler at linebacker, maybe a player. Defensive line, we don't know, are one of these big tackles going to make a bunch of progress? Offensive line, obviously, there's a couple high grit, or there's the grit champion is still out there. Tight end, we don't know who's going to play, and receivers kind of, is Marion Dollison going to kind of finally take that step?
Maybe Sincere Brown, maybe.
Yeah, run 23 miles per hour past some people. You've got a guy like Holden Willis out there that could be a flex guy. I mean, there's a lot of really good players left that could contribute. And it seems like there's not going to be one guy that's kind of the key. So it seems like the ball's going to kind of move around on offense. So it will be interesting to see at the end of the year if there is a team of guys we did not draft, how they would stack up. Because it may be closer than we think.
Do you want to do that real quick? And we'll do that, and we can wrap up this week's podcast with you want to do like the all control team?
I think we can just I think at the end of the year we just go and pick whoever has the highest scores for each position and see how they stack. Highest scores remaining, and see how they stack up.
Okay.
We'll call that the fan draft.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. This was a kind of on the fly kind of decision we made. I like all of the teams. I like my team more than you guys, but I think it's mostly because I had the first pick and I got the quarterback.
Yeah, if he goes coast to coast, it's going to be tough to make up those numbers.
So, I mean, if he just does what he did last year at Baylor, I mean,
Nate's gonna run away with this just from that alone.
It's like if you just put up 2,200 yards and 11 touchdowns, I think you kind of run away with this thing. But my skill position players, I feel confident in Battie and Weaver. Latrell Williams and Chris Carter are both a little bit of a mystery. So I mean that could blow up in my face. Jatorian Hansford could not be the guy, but who knows?
Yeah, have we heard anything? I have not seen a ton about the defensive line.
Yeah.
Have we heard anything about how kind of guys are coming along? I know they had something, I think, on the USF site a little bit about it, but have you guys heard much?
They're keeping everything under lock and key. I have my inklings on who's going to be the starting four on this defensive line. But at this point, it's just really a big guess. I know that's the number one question that everyone's going to be asking from now until September 3rd is how's the defensive line doing? How's the defensive line doing? How's the defensive line doing? If Shoop has done any sort of homework, he knows that that's the key of this machine to get the cog going full speed. So I would imagine to give a very generic answer, the defensive line is doing just fine. It's practice. That's the key thing to remember here. So, if we say the defensive line is crushing it and doing phenomenal, well, are they going up against ones? Are they going up against twos? Is it practice squad guys? Does that mean the offensive line is bad? That's what practices are. Like I saw that the Will Jones interception that he had against Gary in the end zone there. Some people, I saw someone like, oh, is this something to be worried about? And it's like, if we just posted highlights of the quarterbacks throwing dots all day to wide open receivers, we'd be shitting our bricks about our defensive backs. Yeah. It's practice. It's not necessarily like they post those plays basically for the fans to be able to go and jerk off to the content for 27 hours before they repost it.
All right.
That's a hard left turn, I'll be honest.
I mean, but am I wrong is the question.
What's nice, not related to that. What's nice is that I think you'll know if you have a good defensive line early this year. If they play well against BYU, they're probably pretty good. If they don't, then you have to you still wait and see, I think. But BYU's got a really good offensive line. They kind of handled Utah last year. Who when people talk about Utah, they think tough on defense, so they handled them pretty good last year and have some pros on that offensive line. So if USF's able to handle them for the most part in the first game, I think that would kind of give you a good indication. If not, then I think it's still up in the air, but the first game will tell you something that you won't be able to tell in practice, like Stieg is so eloquently alluded to.
Yeah, and they don't need to be world beaters. We're not asking for the NCAA record of sacks in a season, tackles for loss in a season. All we need is not last or tied last in sacks with Vanderbilt. That is, I'm going to set the bar at the floor here. Just don't be tied last.
Okay, so looks like we've got some here. Let's throw that up there. So I think that's you'd like to hear that. Obviously, offensive line they need to have a good year, but I don't know if it was like this in the past where the defensive line's been playing pretty well in practice. So you've got to feel pretty good about the size and the talent they put on there, and if those guys are able to perform, then this is true. See, you have a better answer.
Yeah, that's true.
No comment. I've said too much already tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I figured we'd do, something lighthearted. There's really not much we'll discuss, the quarterback play and the first scrimmage next week when, allegedly the QB1 will be named. So I just figured this would be a fun exercise, kind of talk through some of the, this really comes down to, outside of Stieg for the most part, it really came down to who do you think are going to be the important players for the Bulls this season? I think you get a pretty good snapshot of, who we think should or can make the most impact for the team. And I think all of the teams, Jordan Smith notwithstanding, it's a well put together team for Stieg. I think we can just give him Trey Marsh, just give him the rest of the court, just give him the field.
Just give me all the rest of the quarterbacks, like the field.
I think that's fair.
Well, we'll see how the season. We may end up. It may not be. We may have to kind of look at it with quarterback, without quarterback, depending on the season goes, because it could get ugly. If
that quarterback position is just gonna like hinder everything.
Yeah. Man, I mean, if you guys wanted to win, I simply would have just gotten the first pick like I did.
Yeah, fuck me, right?
I tried.
It seems pretty easy in hindsight, don't you think?
I should have just, I shouldn't have let you pick 2 or 3. I should have just picked it myself. But
Yeah.
I'm a gentleman. What can I say?
Yeah, you're a gentleman. Well, let's get out of here. I know
team
Seth,
names.
You got some. Oh yeah, absolutely. Seth, let's start with your team name first, and we'll go from there.
All right, I'm just gonna write it out here. All right.
Oh, you dirty little man over there.
Jimmy Horn's one of our leaders here, so we'll be the Horn Dogs.
That makes sense.
Steve, do you have one for your team? Oh, that's right.
Just Joe laser focus.
All right.
Just hyperlink. just paste the image next to my team.
Joe.gif. That's good.
All right, Nate.
Because I'm a creature of habit and I'm a little superstitious, I name every single fantasy team the exact same thing every single year without fail. So it's going to be Hot Fuzz. Just because I want to win. And that's one of the greatest movies ever made. I watched it last week while the family was out of town. And it's served me well. It's won me multiple championships, and I am looking forward to whooping y'all's ass this season.
Well, we'll have to get our friend Alex on some logos for these teams here. I think I have a vision. So I think it can be executed. Stieg seems like that could be executed pretty easily.
You know what? This entire time I've been working on it already. I've already got my team image ready to go.
And I have a standard image that I always use for my I am so predictable. Like you could literally murder me so easily. Like watch me for a day and you'd have my pattern down.
I like it. We'll get the logos together, and maybe we'll track it throughout the season here.
Absolutely. We'll post it on Twitter as well. You guys can vote for who do you think will have the best season. Maybe we'll do it with or without quarterback, and we'll go from there. Maybe we'll do it without names too initially, because I'm sure a lot of people haven't listened to the podcast yet. Right? Exactly. Team Hot Fuzz. No, exactly. You are absolutely right. We are going to crush it this season, but we'll go from there. And we'll post it on Facebook. We'll post it on Twitter. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to the YouTube channel so you guys get notifications when we go live every week for our podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe on Apple iTunes, on Spotify. You can hear us wherever you get your podcasts. We'll have a bunch of content coming out here soon. This was a fun exercise. I'm excited to kick off this season in 24 days? Is that right?
Yeah, something like that.
Quick.
I don't know how to count days.
24 days away, guys. Let's go.
I've got something to hawk before we leave.
Go ahead.
Okay. A week from tonight, I have an hour-long show every week on VSN Suncoast. VSN is a streaming app on Roku and Apple TV. I think maybe after the first week, these two guys will be included weekly as part of a roundtable talking about the state's college football teams. Check that out. It'll be next week. If we talk to you before then, I'll remind you. But download VSN. It covers high school football in the state of Florida in every region. I'll be covering recruiting and the local programs kind of from the area I'm in the 941. So I'll be talking to the high school coaches down there, covering recruiting across the state. And then we will every week be covering every college game in the state of Florida. So if you are just looking for more football content, check that out. The show's called Next Level. Starts next Wednesday, a week from today at 7 p.m. on VSN Sun Coast. It's one of the channels on the app. So download that, check it out. It should be a lot of fun. There should be some good stuff.
Perfect. Is that also professional, or do I actually have to like try?
Yeah, no, it'll be a little different.
Okay, good.
Yeah, you're gonna have to try it a little bit harder.
We probably keep the masturbation jokes to a minimum,
but not zero.
Minimum.
The minimum is zero.
I'll sneak one or two in every week.
That's what she said.
All right, for Nathan, Seth, and Stieg, thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining us. This was fun for the USF football fantasy draft. We'll keep up with it all season long. Be sure to check us out everywhere. Stampede SBN, at Seth Varnadore, at Robert Stieg Life. I'm Bulls Nathan SBN. Go Bulls. Have a good night.
Go Bulls, go Horn Dogs.
Go Bulls.